All right, welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily. The conversations are going to be very exciting this morning. You don't want to miss any of it. Of course, if you're watching on social media, the hashtag is Breakfast Daily. Let us know what you think. How did you spend your day yesterday? Where were you? Were you part of the Eid-Ul-Fitr celebrations and all that? Let us know. The WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. Let's hear from you. Let's go and see just a little snippet of what happened at the event yesterday. The Vice President was present.
We have also kept our commitment towards the inclusive development of Zongo communities through the Zongo Development Fund in the areas of infrastructure support, such as access roads, bridges, schools, healthcare facilities, drainage, water systems, astroturfs, educational scholarships, as well as entrepreneurial training and support. Recently, the Zongo Development Fund has completed about 200 projects and commissioned many of them, and many others will soon be commissioned. Inshallah, the construction of the model senior high schools will start this year.
He acknowledged the role the Christian community played over the period to reaffirm Ghana's peaceful status on the continent.
Ghana is globally acclaimed as a very peaceful country, and we have attained enviable positions on the Global Peace Index as the most peaceful country in West Africa and the second most peaceful country in Africa. It is because of the tolerance, cooperation, and mutual respect between Muslims and Christians across the country. Elsewhere, faith-based groups are at each other's throats and are destructive elements to the peace of their communities. Here in Ghana, we are blessed with tolerant and progressive religious leadership and groups which are contributing meaningfully to the national development. Let us continue to strengthen our ties regardless of our different religious identities.
Right, and that was a speech by the Vice President at the Black Star Square yesterday. Huge gathering, beautiful ceremony. Now we have been joined in the studio by a scholar, you know. We have known him all these years, and he is also the spokesperson for the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Armiya Shaibu. Sheikh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Right, we saw yesterday at the Black Star Square. You were very busy, you know, saying everything that the Chief Imam wanted to tell us. How was yesterday?
You know, yesterday was a day of blessing for us because it offers opportunity for us to gather once again in the COVID-19 pandemic era. The Independence Square has been silent over the period, as customary known that as the location for our celebration. So it was joy actually seeing the Chief Imam himself coming back again to lead us in prayer. And so the multitudes were excited actually. That's why you saw the huge crowds with the COVID-19 restrictions also lifted. It gave us so it was exciting to see ourselves once again. We came back home and the IGP paid a courtesy call on the Chief Imam immediately after. And for me, it was exciting that he came to see the old man and so I assured him of the effort to ensure that they improve on their public policing, ensure that there is a good understanding and rapport between police and the communities, so that it's not a matter of arresting, but a matter of also changing attitude and behavior that may not need necessary arresting anybody. Once you behave well and you are keeping within law, why do you destroy yourself and be kept in the behind the bars and destroying your life? I mean, so for me, those were very exciting moments to see family. I wanted yesterday to have a dinner between myself and one of my very close friends, Dr. Lawrence Tete, pastor. And I'm still planning to have something with a number of pastors and myself. We'll have a dinner and to showcase what the Vice President is saying and what I have personal experience in respect to good and respectable relationship.
Fantastic.
I mean, the Christian community has shown a lot of love and respect to the National Chief Imam. I say without any shame and with any shade of doubt, and I have proofs to show. And so we must be commending the Christian community also for that show of love. His 130 years came, and you find Christians will all the time be giving him all the greetings and so on and so forth. So we enjoyed ourselves yesterday. I got some rice, took some rice to some friends. I actually encourage Muslim elite class and the rich to open their homes. If you have Christian neighbors, open your home, let them enter. Once they are comfortable to eat from your home, just open up. Let them have fun with you, and let's give effect to the harmony and interfaith harmony that we have in the country.
You know, so you just mentioned something very important, being hospitable, you know.
Yes.
So what is the significance of Eid-Ul-Fitr?
Yeah, actually, Eid-Ul-Fitr, like I've mentioned, he said, the Quran says that so that you will magnify the name of God, for that he has guided you aright, and then you will be thankful. So if you put this together, then you say, one, the significance is to magnify God's name for having kept us and got us aright during the period, because you know, fasting, except those who know, I'm sure even within the Christian tradition, I mean, fasting is not a small thing, and it is there for serious people. I mean, any seriously religious person knows what fasting means. Fasting is a process and it's a state. So if you go through fasting for a full month, and you come out feeling fulfilled inside you, then you must be thankful to God for God. In thankfulness to God, you magnify His name and you glorify Him. That's why if you follow the trend, when we stand, the Chief Imam says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and we say so 7 times. You know, the first and then the second one 5 times, so 12 in number. And you magnify God's name and then give him thanks. But the other side of social is to also, you know, bring us together as a united people who, together in mind and spirit, we are happy and we come out so joyfully that we have been able to express our surrender and submission to God's will within the period, meaning that we have now emerged as people who can truly walk in life in God's righteousness in life. But there's a contradiction. So when you come there, I will also mention it. The contradiction as to whether people have fasted and they are still walking in.
Well, tell us about that. I mean, is it everyone that fasts though?
Yes. In fact, because it's a pillar of Islam. Fasting is one of the pillars of Islam, and once it's a pillar, it's a commandment. But a commandment in Islam, you need to really satisfy certain requirements for you to carry the burden of fasting. And that is our law. For example, if you are a minor, you have not reached the age of majority, so God's compassion says that you can be encouraged, but you know, allow a woman who is pregnant, she's carrying the heavy burden of a child in the tummy. What she goes through, she might need to take something because of the child in the tummy. So she is allowed not to fast. A woman who is in her menstrual cycle may also not fast. An old, aged, and then the traveler. You see, and that's why I tell people that, except the one who don't understand, Islamic law is moderate, is flexible, is dynamic. If you strip Islam of all of these features, Islamic law and jurisprudence, if you strip them of these, it becomes injurious to society.
Wow.
So that's how Islam says. So there are certain people, but every able-bodied person of the required age is a commandment, and you have to fast.
You know, so what I noticed yesterday too was, now ahead of the celebration, there was a word of caution. It sounded a word of caution, you know, that you wouldn't want to see people come in out of excitement to be riding bicycles, to engage in all kinds of indiscipline. We did not record anything like that yesterday. How were you able to achieve that in terms of preparation, making sure we had a decent event? How easy was that, especially with the security?
You know, the Chief Imam has been blessed by God with charisma and a big influence. So even as small as I am, if I use his voice and I say, Chief Imam has said, you find majority who want to listen. And I think it's a blessing to us. And probably we all must learn as to how he grew to this level, so that tomorrow we can also speak, and people out of reverence and respect will also listen to us. So we spoke with his voice, that it will be a big contradiction that we celebrate in overindulgence, that having come out, because the expectation is that having gone through fasting as a process, you come out as a refined person. In fact, you shed off the crude nature. Yeah, our crudeness must be, and the crudeness nature and the animal side of us that has been kept under perfect control, must show now in the excellence of our behavior. And I see a big contradiction if anyone comes on the day celebrating and you ride on motorbike recklessly, harassing non-Muslim onlookers. It spoils the beauty and the significance of the day. And it's not something that we want to tolerate. It's not something that we want to encourage. We want it to live together with non-Muslim for them to even appreciate what we do. Just like we also want to understand Christians and why they do what they do, and to respect them for what they do. But if in the practice of our diversity we become injurious to each other, we show disrespect to each other, then it creates a situation of tension, and anytime something small happens, you find that, and other countries are suffering it. But we are fortunate in Ghana, and I agree with the Vice President what he said. Yes. If Ghana is peaceful, it's well, religious leaders here are very peaceful, and we make a significant contribution. And if the statistics is true, and what he has said, like the peace index, and I think we should celebrate it. I think Ghana is not doing bad. I disagree completely. If anybody says Ghana is, I disagree completely. Look, I drive in the night, nobody chases me. White people are walking on our streets. I mean, nobody, no police. Somebody has told me that in Nigeria, you do simple ceremony, and the security you see behind you. But we are not perfect. We are not perfect. So those little things, definitely you see them. Let us not over exaggerate and say Ghana is drifting into Ghana is choosing to think that Ghana is violent.
Okay. Now, regarding the ceremony yesterday, I noticed also that there was a whole it was a gathering of the parade of a sort, with horses and color and pageantry and all that. Is that part of the celebration normally? Is that what happens part of the celebration?
As a student of knowledge, I'm not a scholar. I call myself.
Well, you are a scholar. You are just trying to be modest.
A student of knowledge.
Okay.
In my study of religions, there's a Christian philosopher. I hope I'm right. I use Immanuel Kant or one of these. He tries to define a religion in terms of two elements. He talks of the faith, religion as faith, and religion as cumulative traditions.
Oh, okay.
So every group of people, through the long period, develop traditions out as a result of their history and their experiences. Okay. So those ones you cannot take them away. And Islam is also like that. Having mixed up with the culture. So over a period, out of our experience, we develop things. So the day of our happiness, you will see certain things that are not necessarily part of Islamic, or you may find it written that on day like this, go and ride on horses. You will not see this. But over the period, so in Kumasi, for example, they even use the Hausa word Gangara. Gangara, it is because of where they begin the celebration. It's on
top of a hill.
On the top of a hill. And then they ride the horses down. With all the people coming around, traditional chiefs, riding on horses. And horses, is associated with our lives. As Northerners and as Muslims, and so on and so forth. So that's when we give actually the fullest expression of our traditional beauty, our culture. You see the different dressings. So Zongo is a conglomerate. So you see people of the Dagbani tradition, of the Gonja, of the Wangara, of the Hausa, of the Gurushi, Grini, and so on and so forth. So the diversity is so beautiful, and the blend can be so resplendent. And that is why what you see in Accra here, you also see it happening. Except that we still want to see it a better organized. Something. If there's any element we think is a shortcoming, we try hard and make sure that those elements are removed so that we keep the beauty. And it is not wrong according to Islam. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, made his migration to Medina after 13 years of mission in Mecca, he had to now leave Mecca and go and come to Medina. The people of Medina were so joyous when he was coming, and they lined up on the street, and they beat on drums and they sang and welcoming the Prophet who was bringing them peace. So if it happened during his time, it's not wrong. So showing happiness by way of drumming and singing. There are those who have a very strict, Islam, there are different orientations. There are those whose orientation is such that all those things are completely un-Islamic, but I disagree. Completely. I disagree. Beauty shows in different ways, even in the melody of our voice. And then we have different occasions for sadness, for joy. One is sadness, one is death. We know it is death. We know what we would do. But in the moment when I get married, or God bless me with a new child, my friends have come on a day of festive day like this, there must be something to show that I'm really happy. And it comes through these ways. Once you keep within the principle of moderation, Islam allows it.
Awesome. And he says he's not a scholar. Anyway, so let me ask you, about yourself. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about the security, people paying attention to what the Chief Imam said. You mentioned the status of the Chief Imam. I must admit that he's one of the few people that are revered, across board. The Chief Imam. I mean, Chief Imam speaks, and then everybody just pays attention, regardless of who you are. Being a spokesperson for the Chief Imam is a big deal. Who can be the spokesperson of the Chief Imam? What does it take?
Well, it's not easy for me to say, but I try to do my best. I didn't start as a spokesperson. I was only passionate to work for Islam and for my community. So anytime there's a job to do, I'm around. So I play different roles. Sometimes with him as an MC, in many of the Muslim, functions. Sometimes I give speeches when it requires that I do so, and so on and so forth. So there came a time when I needed to really translate for him some of his public, presentations. And I think that he felt I had carried the message. But what it takes, in my experience, is that for you to be a spokesperson of a person like this, you must really, really, really come close to him and study him very well. You must understand his philosophy, his principles. You must be on the same wavelength with him. Even respect to the kind of Islamic orientation he belongs to. The Chief Imam is a Muslim cleric of a difference. He's a mystic. So he belongs to one of the mystical confraternities of Islam. That's the Tijaniya.
Wow.
And we call them the Sufis, and the Sufis are mystical groups. And it's not all Muslims that believe in it. But because they are mystical, they are very thoughtful, meditative, very reflective. They try to they travel deep into their souls and come out.
Wow.
And they're very spiritual. The Chief Imam kept himself in that tradition. And if you ask him about how he has grown to this stature, sometimes you ask him, old man, but, how come? Then he will tell you, as young as so and so and so, I kept myself, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do that. Then he will tell you that. So I have tried to come close to him, to even appreciate what excites him, what saddens him, what are the issues that when you read around him makes him so indifferent, because what is it that keeps him, stressful? That there are things that around him makes him feel stressful because he doesn't want them. So I try to understand also his language. Understanding his language. And also to understand the language culture of the people around. I'll give you an example. You see, during is it June 13th or June 3rd disaster circle?
June 3rd.
The June 3rd.
There was a Thanksgiving, memorial somewhere at Circle. You see, and when it was time for Chief Imam to speak, he said something, and it was so default for me, looking at the culture of the people there. He said, this thing that has happened is a blessing.
Okay.
The people have come there in their culture.
In pain.
They are in pain. They are in black.
Yes.
They are in red.
Some are injured.
Some are injured. In fact, they have been either been buried or they are in the fridges and the morgues and so on and so forth. You see, and so when you come to sympathize with them, and they are looking at you, and now you look at them in the face and say, see, these your children that are dead. You see, it's a blessing.
Yeah. and
it can be difficult
how
to hear.
How did he explain that?
You know, but so I had the duty now to place it in context that will show empathy with the people because they may not understand where he's coming from. Where he's coming from, God commits no mistake.
Yeah.
Where he's coming from, God commits no mistake.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so whatever happens,
we give thanks.
and he will tell you that whatever happens, behind it there's the wisdom of God. So he will tell you, he will tell you that. So when Owusu Bempah, my good friend, you know, prognosticated that the Chief Imam was going to die. And the day that he paid the courtesy call on the Chief Imam, the people have come around. You know, some were furious. Some also were just wanted to see him. That man, who is he? How does he look like? You know, curiosity. You know, so when the Chief Imam came, he embraced him and gave him a place to sit just close to him on a seat like this. And when we were going to do the press conference, Chief Imam held him by the hand. Meaning that once I hold him by the hand, you hit him, you hit me. It was strong. Whilst
I'm holding his hand.
I'm holding him. You know. So when we sat down, Owusu Bempah said he was not prepared to say anything on that day. He came with his godfather, Nyamadonko.
Okay.
Yeah. So Nyamadonko spoke, Honorable. And so he was humble that day. He didn't want to even say anything. But then when it was time for the Chief Imam to speak, the Chief Imam said, you see, in this world, God's wisdom is behind any event that happens. So I translated that to them.
How did you do that? What did you say?
So I translated. Then I saw them nodding. Yes. Then he repeated it. When Chief Imam wants to make a strong case, if he says and you translate, and he feels strong about it, he repeats, bring it back again. So he said it again, and I translated. That was when Reverend Owusu Bempah felt encouraged, and he requested for permission to say a word.
Okay. Well, you know. So talking about Owusu Bempah's, Reverend Owusu Bempah's issue, you know, when he made that pronouncement, there was a bit of anger among Muslims. You know, some actually even went to his church to vandalize, his church and all. Now, to some extent, people are of the view that Muslims sometimes are a bit
reactionary.
You know, there's a bit of confusion. There's anger in them and all that. You know, they are giddy kind of
radical
people, radical,
behavior,
exactly. Correct us. Why? I mean, why would people, you know, think this way? Is it some things you do? Is it that we don't understand some of your actions? What exactly is that? Because we often hear that Islam is a peaceful religion. But sometimes the kind of things you see are not, you know, in tandem with
these are areas of contradiction.
So, exactly. So what exactly is this? What's happening?
I'm a realist. And usually I don't want to paint a picture as if everything is perfect. So it's not all Muslims that are righteous.
Okay.
Among Muslims there are sinners.
Okay.
Among Muslims there are those who are ignorant. Among Muslims are those who are not perfect in their understanding. Among Muslims are even clerics and scholars whose understanding of Islam is, with all due respect, either deficient or a certain kind of orientation that they give the interpretation as to influence. Because you see, when you have large following behind you and they listen to you, the message you give them impacts on their behavior. That's why you need to be careful. How has Chief Imam succeeded
Yeah.
in toning down? It is because of what he says, what he speaks, and his personal example.
Yeah.
But assuming you have a Muslim scholar who, on a day of tension, comes out and he gives an interpretation of jihad, and he said, "Look, jihad."
Yeah.
Already, the young people are full of energy.
Yeah.
Already,
Yeah.
there are people who are ready for action.
Yeah.
So the psychology should tell you.
Yeah.
So you must understand the psychology of young people that you are doing. As a Muslim scholar, in my background, I studied religions, but I combine with psychology.
Okay.
So some of the things I try to also look at the other dimensions. You see, one of the things that about the Zongo, which I may be right, I may be wrong, but because I have lived, I'm a typical 100% Zongo breed.
Okay.
I was born and bred in the Zongo. I grew as a Zongo person and went through education. So, you see, the Zongo community was deprived for a long time, was kept at the outskirts. They didn't matter. Most governments at the time, you know, and they were so deprived and there were no opportunities. If you look at the Zongos and the way even there was no good schools, no pavements, you go, the place will look dirty because they don't even provide amenities. You see, when you keep people like that, you make them inferior. And inferiority shows itself in different behavior patterns. When you keep people inferior for a long time or deprived, now you make them aggressive. So there are those of them who are good, but they are majority because they've been denied opportunity for education. They are idle, they don't have job to do. You see them, and sometimes you make them even envious of other communities. As if somebody had deliberately
done that to them.
That is why, in fact, without the politics, that is why I was happy when once in this country, a certain ministry called the Zongo. Because you see, it was intended, except if those who did it didn't even understand what it meant. Yes, because how I'm feeling about it may be different from the politician who... but I tried to philosophize. When it was established. What it meant was it came to address a certain identity issue and give encouragement. In fact, it was supposed to be a vehicle for accelerated transformation of the Zongo communities.
Has it been?
That is another question. You see, the president has mentioned a few things. I know of a few things that had taken place, which for me they are good. For example, like the 40 students who were brought to the Chief Imam's outfit, who had been given scholarship to go and study medicine in Cuba. Look, it is the greatest thing that has ever happened. If any government will come to the Zongo, there came a time when I said, look, when the politicians bring you rice in Ramadan, when they know your development needs, they know what you need to develop. They don't do that to you, but they come to you with rice and use you during politics for violence. You see, they abuse. The Zongo person has certain attributes. The Zongo young person is loyal. And loyalty is good.
But it can be used in a
God bless
way.
you. The Zongo young person is courageous. But when courage is not well used, it becomes foolhardiness. And so many politicians, in fact, I say, and without any doubt, anybody can challenge me, can insult me for that. Because I have felt the pain of my kind being reduced from their humanity to tools for violence. Look, if you have a sense of justice, you know this gentleman should have been given an opportunity to develop skills, to go to school, to become somebody, potential president or minister, and you don't do that. And you wait and take advantage of his vulnerability. In fact, during the West Iowa violence and whatever happened, you know, one of my sadness.
What's that?
When I saw Evans Mensah, my good friend here,
Bernard.
Yes, you know, a young man that I like so much. You know, when they were coming there serious. Some of them were having their briefcases and they came with their lawyers, looking beautiful. When my kind came there, both the victim and the perpetrator, when they came there, None of them could speak English.
Okay.
They had to come with an interpreter. I felt sad. The one who was beaten and the one who did the slapping.
Yeah.
I felt sad. Why should my people become like this?
Yeah.
I'm a Zongo breed. I tell my story. After Form 4, actually, my father didn't like, my father was not excited in formal education.
Okay.
So after Form 4, he said it was enough.
He's done.
His mindset was that the more educated you become along the formal lines, the less Muslim you became.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Okay.
And he has an ambition to make me a cleric, but here am I.
Yeah.
You know, so that thing happened. So you deprive the people of this education, and when you do so, you kill them, and they have no sense to be able to do things for themselves, and that is exactly what has happened to us. And we want this thing
to change.
And if it will change, here I come again. Chief Imam said yesterday he's with excitement waiting to join the first sword cutting of the model schools promised for the Zongos, because that is the key.
Absolutely. Right, you're so right on that. This is Breakfast Daily. Sheikh, we take a break, we'll come back. Yesterday something interesting happened, from our quarters on the Eid-Ul-Fitr. We'll be coming to that later. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Breakfast Daily continues, and the conversations around the festival of Eid-Ul-Fitr. It's all the celebrations that happen. Look, right here at City, we also did some really fantastic celebrations for the members of the Adabraka community. And we want to show you what happened yesterday. Let's take a look at this. We have a lot of conversations to have.
Hundreds of less privileged children from Muslim homes in Adabraka were on Tuesday hosted to a party dubbed the Ramadan Bash by CTFM and City TV through the CTFM Foundation as part of the Eid-Ul-Fitr celebrations. Many of the children were served with assorted drinks and biscuits amidst thrilling music for a start. For those who were knocked off their feet by the songs, they jumped to the dance floor to exhibit their skills. In the exciting moment, the children were also served with packaged foods and again received drinks. Some of them who could not hold back their delight spoke to City News.
You have done it. It's good. It is surprising.
What have we done for you?
You have given me plenty things.
Like what?
Like cake, drink, biscuits, and something. I want to say you thank you. God bless you. God give you plenty. Today we are celebrating Eid-Ul-Fitr and you come and do party for us.
So during the party, what did you get?
I get plenty things, and cakes, drinks, and biscuits.
Women from the Adabraka Muslim community who massed up at the party were also not left out of the fun as they received their goodies of rice and tins of creamy plus milk. They danced to the tunes during the celebration.
Many ideas say, and no piano fitting. I feel quite bad to ya, yet the radiasi, and no piano and answer. You're not a damn. You're not drama, Broso. Namisramu, baby, I'm not standing free, and Nakasan, and Mamma, Mubotom, Namin Masikan, Mubotom, Tanabaya, fist the brain, I can't.
Later, a donation of varied food items and drinks were made to leadership of the Adabraka Mosque, and they showed their appreciation to City FM and City TV for the benevolent gesture.
Oh, so marvelous, so wonderful. I couldn't really believe it, what I'm seeing now at the moment. you have done all. In fact, if everybody will do what you guys are doing today, in fact, we could have moved forward. The community are so happy. See everybody's joy, see what you are giving out for the Muslim community. In fact, we don't have anything to say, only to say thank you very much. May Allah bless your TV station and your FM station.
Head of Events and Partnerships at CTFM and City TV, Freme Dunyame, spoke to City News.
We did this for the less privileged children, from the Muslim homes in Adabraka. And that is how come we have to come to the mosque area, and I'm sure you saw the number of needy children who came, so this should tell you that this is what we wanted to do, to put smiles on the faces of the less privileged ones who, but for this bash, wouldn't have had a beautiful Eid celebration. And so we give thanks to Allah, for granting us the ability, the strength to also make impact in society. Once people hear that you are sharing goodies, they all come. But it was important for us to stress for them to understand that, one, it is for the less privileged children, from the Muslim homes, and also for the women as well. And so we have some men even coming in. You can still see the men around, but we told them that they should just take it easy. Their wives are bringing the goodies home, and they will benefit.
So it's all been fun and excitement at Adabraka in Accra, where hundreds of children who are less privileged were fed in the Ramadan Bash organized by CTFM and City TV through the CTFM Foundation. Reporting for City News, my name is Ni Ahikwe Okai.
All right.
So, Sheikh, so this happened yesterday.
What do you make of what you've seen there?
Oh, what can I say but to say we are grateful to you. You see, some of these things when you do to people, you reach out to them, you give them hope. Even in the situation they find, if somebody can reach out to them, this is what we do to actually win people's heart and build their confidence. If the human being is so a complex, a lot of things that people neglect. Neglect. Yeah. If you neglect a human being, he is of no substance. You neglect him. That in itself is enough to kill him. Confine somebody to one place and say, "Don't go out." It's enough to, and so on and so forth. So those are things of psychological nature that when you do, so it's good, and I think that your station needs to be commended for that. I know there are those who might have their issue with the dancing and all those things, and I say it is not a bad thing. As far as long as if the women come out, they are well covered. They don't show their body contour, and around and so on and so forth. I mean, there's just a moment's thing to do, show some happiness, shake off your body a little bit, and finally you go home, you find some good food to eat, and so on and so forth. Then we are fine. So for me, it's also a gesture. It's a gesture which both religions, Islam, Christianity. For example, there's a certain principle in Ramadan fast during the last part of the Ramadan. It's a principle that there's a certain charity we give. We call it Eid-Ul-Fitr. That's the charity of breaking the fast. It's obligatory. In fact, you give on behalf of the newly born child.
Wow. Okay.
So what it means is that we widen the space of collection so that we can extend the scope of distribution. And that you must make beggars sufficient enough to restrain them from begging on that day.
Wow.
So if it were possible, let us not see a single beggar on the street.
Okay.
If it were possible. That's what the Prophet told us.
Wow.
So give. And it gives us a certain minimum measure. But people limit themselves to the minimum measure of the food. But what it means is that the minimum is this way you can give. But I said, let them be happy on this day. So if you give them just raw rice of that quantity and you leave them, how can they become happy? So you add money, add oil to make some condiments and other things. So that the dad and the mom and the children will eat to the full on that day. And you see, interpretations, sometimes you need to understand interpretations. Sometimes the prophet will make just one statement. But it represents a ruling, or a principle. But you should interpret to give it effect. So when the prophet says, give this quantity of food, don't limit yourself to the literal understanding, but also look at the wisdom and the principle it represents and see how it applies. And when you do so, then you can even vary the approach you are doing it. But I know there are scholars who will say, no, this is the way the Prophet said.
So we go strictly according to that. Right now, you have mentioned that this is a gesture, you know, that so this is City TV, CTFM, through our CTFM Foundation, we did this. So this is something that we have taken upon ourselves to be doing. We do it during Easter, we do it during Christmas for needy children. We also do the COPE, you know, that is on education for people who cannot afford
tertiary
fees. So we come in to do that as well. We've been doing this for a long time.
That's great.
But moving on, you know, yes, there is a Zongo ministry, you know, that has been set up, development fund, yes, that has been set up just to support the Zongos, you know. Now, we're just also talking about the fact that sometimes we look at Muslims, we look at northern people from northern Ghana. I mean, Muslims are predominantly higher in that area, you know. How do we get corporate Ghana? How do we get private entities to come in to support? What should we do?
Yeah, I think I'm looking more at the private sector and what they can do. You know, the Zongo and the northern women are the best cooks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and we love your food.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All the kind of food, the northern food that you talk about. Look, as a boy, I saw the elite class driving their beautiful cars, coming to the Zongo to eat tour on every weekend, Saturday, Sunday. But these women will do it on that small scale. And sometimes they even get into indebtedness and the whole business collapses. So they don't develop it. So if, for example, the banking institutions and other financial SEOs, you know, can come in and say, look, how do we help these women, you know, to develop from this traditional food vendoring, you know, to a certain kind of restaurant with good management, so that you are improving the economic lives of the people there. The kind of education that we need, for example, skill training for our young people, and to really also give boost, you know, to the TVET. I'm happy that now the TVET is being pushed. I'm yet to see how really they push it to that level, because of how I feel about it. Because they say that 80% of our needs fall within the TVET area.
Wow.
So if you can get many of the Zongo young people who have skills to also get this, and then you'll be improving. And then those who are actually completely down, they cannot down. We see what we can do. And then children who are intelligent but deprived. Who actually, there are some children you marvel. I don't know what is your station or another station that found a boy on the street. And they noticed his potential. He participated in a certain essay competition, and he won. And he was taken to China or so. But he came back. They enrolled him at pre-sec or so, and this boy will not go to school. And they come to ask him and say, in the morning, even what to buy food to go to school, he couldn't get.
It's a problem. Wow.
And there are thousands of them like that. So this is where some of these social corporate things that you do, you know, if you are able to single out just one person, it's an impact on the entire family. Exactly. And I think you need to be encouraged. And then where we also need to partner, probably we also have a duty. The Chief Imam established the Sharutu Education Fund, which we are trying to, it's gone down now, but we are trying to see what we can do to revive it so that it can offer. The Muslim community has what we call the Zakat and Sadaqah Trust Fund of Ghana, which is part of our charity, now being put in a formal way. So Muslim elites who are working in the corporate bodies can now part with their annual zakat. That's our compulsory charity, which we give every year. So that we can channel it through there. And then we can now effectively, on accountable manner, you know, disperse the funds, you know, and assist students who ordinarily will not get a chance now to get support for their education. Actually, that's what religion means. I insist. Religion without humanity, without care and attention for the needy is empty.
Yeah. So let's find out from you, I mean, before you leave us, the Chief Imam's office, what do you have any activities planned for the rest of the year? Are there any things that you would want us to know about?
Usually, because we also have our original imams, there is that flexibility where we allow every region there are regional nuances and their history and the way and the culture and everything. So you can't even impose. Yeah. So usually it's a week celebration. We try to do it, but the rest feed into the normal programs that we do to prepare ourselves to remain on track, focused, be good citizens in the country, and that remains a major duty for us, those of us who God has blessed us to really be in the forefront, to still be educating the public. We are still partnering with organizations. As I speak to you now, we are underway. We want to make interfaith harmony and peace a culture, something to be proud of and to uphold in this country. We don't want to leave it as an ordinary, so we even want to give it a structure. As I speak to you now, we are planning with the Catholic Bishops' Conference, to even have an annual joint meeting of dialogue, so that we can use it, as a means, sometimes even for joint action, joint statements. If we think there's something national in nature that the voice of religion need to come in, then jointly we can confront it, either speak to government or to educate, and so on and so forth. These are the things that we really want to do, and to also educate our people very well, provide skills, so that we don't see I know there are challenges that we also want to work on. The recent trouble in Nima, which was very dastardly, and we don't want to see a repeat of it. And it shows that we really have a problem that we need to deal with. And we are trying to see how we can be engaging people in the security, learn more about how to maintain some of this order, and to give the intelligence to say that, look, some gangs are rising up, and let's quickly
let's get in there,
nip it in the bud before it even happens, without slashing people with cutlasses, which we don't want to see.
One of the things that I mean, His Eminence, the Chief Imam, he's getting on in years, and I'm sure there's conversations happening, around him. About the succession plan and all of that. Of course, we've seen it on the Roman Catholic level, how it's done with all the cardinals and the whole, they go into conclave and do all those things.
The white smoke
the white
and the black smoke.
And then all those things. Very, is there anything similar that happens, in Islam and all that? And is there a plan, that you're putting in place?
Well, for us, like I will be honest with you, it's one of the sensitive, subjects. And,
very much.
And if you ask the Chief Imam now, and because of where he comes from, you ask him, old man, so what's this issue? He will tell you, myself, I never knew I would become the Chief Imam.
Oh, wow.
Then he will tell you it's God's favor. So when he says so,
then you can't ask any questions.
You wait for that, yes.
You can't ask any further questions.
And truly, I believe in that truly, because you see, if you look at the Chief Imam and the sort of charisma and the reverence that he's enjoying across the religious divide, there must be something secret about it that we don't understand. So, in modern day, people are asking for somebody who will speak English. I see completely irrelevant.
It goes beyond that.
Somebody who can talk and represent us. Chief Imam is a silent type who doesn't talk much. That's the type. Look, I'm a product of Legon. Legon people didn't call me to confer on me doctorate. Somebody who doesn't speak my English. They call and then conferred on him. There must be something about him. These are the type of things that we are looking out for. That unifier, that who bring some aura and sacredness. You see, it's not a place to want to display ego, show superior knowledge, and so on and so forth. If that one is what we want, we could go. For me, and that's what people have not appreciated. And people are coming with plans, wanting to now interview the person, find his certificate. And we go, Chief Imam didn't go through the formal education like myself to have a certificate. And yet he's doing better things than those who carry professors who come to squat in front of him. I think that is what we need too. And we are fortunate. You see, and it's a tradition because we are a community that respects age a lot. Respect age a lot. And so it is one of our strength. Once the Chief Imam arrives, everybody says, our grandfather, our father. That sort of thing. It helps even when there's tension. So it's not a place for some hot-headed young man who thinks he has degrees, professor, and he comes in displays.
And he doesn't see much of
life before, and all of a sudden he's destroying the sacredness of the place, full of pride and so on and so forth. Chief Imam has all this power. You go to him, he's like so meek. So you go to him, you know.
But true power is in meekness.
That is it.
True power.
And his humility, non-discrimination. People don't understand. What I didn't understand him, you know, sometimes people come to him and say, why all these people come to the man? As if they are desecrating the place. One day he said something, I understood him and said, this thing, we give up. So Chief Imam will embrace the sinner as he will embrace the righteous.
But now, I can say that for Chief Imam, Osman Shaributu, he will be leaving huge shoes. I wonder who can fill those shoes, you know, because with everything that we are saying, I mean, you see that Chief Imam, there's some kind of presence, you know,
definitely. I mean,
with him. I don't know, but are there laid down procedure in choosing a Chief Imam, you know, in Islamic practice?
As far as, you know, usually you don't have, it's Ghana that we are blessed to have somebody called the National Chief Imam.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, we are in communities. So you go to the place, you know, everybody has got his this thing. And that's why we don't even have an Islamic global leader.
Wow. Okay.
If anybody tells you that, he's liar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are fortunate in Ghana that by public acclaim. So it's not like there was a certain procedure
that
There's
was
an
followed
office
necessarily.
like that you need.
But he grew in stature and he emerged. And the whole community found no other person.
And embraced
and
him
he's not the first Muslim leader in this. But he happens to be, from his era up to this time, Islam has never experienced and enjoyed so much respect in a certain era than like his era.
Wow.
Just because of his person alone. Just because of his person. Wow. And so we are really in difficulty. If you ask me now, so is there any person? I try to look around.
It's difficult.
Who do it?
I'm trying to look at around and say, for this man, I think that if you get, he comes close. This man comes close. Because of the things that go into, but in modern day times, it's about ego. It's about how you feel about yourself and the knowledge that you can exhibit. You either speak good Arabic, you know, speak fluent English. And then you come on all over the place. And then you come, you are deficient in your morality, even your spiritual insight. You can't guarantee the people when there's nothing that around you that brings certain sacredness and that people will depend on. You know, and Chief Imam has been gifted. When there's tension, you know, at Hohoi, when there was a problem between Zongo and the traditional or the big community, the chief was not ready to talk to anybody. And he was told the Chief Imam was coming. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't confront the Chief Imam and to say, I will not listen. So he remained inside. And then the wise people were going inside and coming out. Coming out. Chief Imam remained sitting until finally he came out. And then everything. You know, the recent Ejura case is another case. We need somebody of a huge
of that stature.
And that's why currently I can say, apart from the Vice President, the President, I don't think there's any person so revered in this country like the National Chief Imam. And they all also respect him. President sees the Chief Imam. In fact, all the presidents. Nana, His Excellency, Akufo, His Excellency, John, His Excellency, all of them. They say they call him their father. The last encounter with Excellency Akufo, I greeted him and said, hey, Okwa, me papa no kochi and my wati. Then he said, Obia say me papa. No papa no.
Absolutely. I mean, the Chief Imam is an example, that we all look up to.
We all want to learn from him.
And we all want to make that impact in society.
I want to learn and see whether I can imitate him in those qualities.
It won't be bad to one day see you as the national Chief Imam.
Hey, that's a dangerous comment to make in public.
Of course, well, that's what I don't even understand, the dynamics. I don't even understand the tennis, so I'm just speaking my mind. I mean, this doesn't go anywhere beyond this walls. So that is just by the way. But Sheikh, thank you very much for your time
so much
this morning.
for the opportunity.
And once again, happy Eid.
Eid Mubarak to all of you, and thank you for all your things that you've done. And we pray for God to uplift your station. Bless you individually and collectively, and make this place so big that your impact will be felt, become a more disciplined country because of how you inform us. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be speaking with the spokesman for the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Arimiya Shaibu. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.